Hello, I'm trying to keep myself upright and semi-focused, so I thought I would do a Garb August um, kind of TBR list. I don't know if it's TBR, to be read list, maybe something like that. August is the greatest booktube event in the history of great booktube events, which seems to spring from the mind of Criminali, Ollie at Criminali, where you read garbage. Read garbage in the month of August. I don't know if I'll be spending my entire August reading garbage. I'm a slow reader. That would be a lot of reading for me. But I figured, hey, what the heck? I would kind of go through the prompts and just sort of pick out, well, sort of went through the books that I have and said like, oh, what could I read for Garb August? I doubt if I'm going to read all of this stuff. I'm probably going to there's one or two things here I might actually commit to reading, but the other ones are just more like kind of interest sakes. So he's got it listed out as like 4 weeks of prompts. Week one is sex and or violence, trash that goes out of its way to be explicit. Sort of, it's that's the reason for the book is to either have sexy times or to have, violence, horrible violence in it. Week two is vintage, trash that was originally published before 1980s. Criminally, definitely, Ollie pointing out that the 1970s was a golden era for that kind of vintage trash. Week three is anything goes, whatever you want, as long as it's trash, which that nicely opens it up. Week number four is a WTF, trash that made you question everything. So for me, I think a lot of my trash is probably more along the lines of sex than it is violence. Um, you know, One that actually came to mind, which is kind of a literary bent to it as well, is Henry Miller, Under the Roofs of Paris, originally published as Opus Pistorum, which, if I believe, this is, yes, the famous erotic novel by the author of Tropic of Cancer. This recently discovered work, well, recently discovered, was written by Miller in 1941 for a Los Angeles bookseller who paid him $1 a page, which I believe it's one of these. It's this basically it's $1 a page, and there had to be sex on every single page of the book. Miller is someone who is known for his very masculine, very kind of explicit works to begin with. This is probably more so. I can't remember if how much I've ever read of this. Um, but that would probably be a good example of literally something that written for $1 a page. This is the kind of stuff he's like just cranking out to survive. That would be a good example. I don't know if I'm going to actually read that one this month because I probably want to review stuff, and I don't think I want to review that. Um, I have a little bit. Now, there's stuff that I'm not quite sure if it is trash or not. I've got Michael Shea, Nif the Lean here, Raiders of the Infernal Domains, and it's Shea's Inferno. Follow the adventures of Nif the Lean, the master thief, whose felonious approbations and larcenous skills will lead you through the Stygian realms to challenge your most lurid fantasies and errant imaginations. Lurid fantasies is like, that's good trash advertising. Places where horror, harm, and long eerie calms flow past the travelers in endless, unpredictable succession. And I think I saw here's a little quote. They have these little blurbs at the front, which it's not a blurb, it's basically just a quote from the novel. A woman had been born nude and whole, though when she moved she still gave off a gust of cold, like wind off a glacier. She spoke. Hail to you, Northern Nift, called also Nift the Lean. You and Halder both are known to me, your qualities of craft and soul. It is your luck that you chose this camp and mine, that I reached you in it. Know, gentle thieves, that your fortune has turned. I am your gate to fame, to wealth, and power past the tongue's telling. If you will go through with me, if you go through me, you will go at first through terrible darkness, but at last you will go in brightest daylight amid pomp and acclaim. I am Dalisem. I was a temple child of Lurkana Downs. I have been dead these 7 years. I come to offer you what you seek. I'll give you the wizard's key. For this, you must bring down to me one living man, one man still living down to me, down to where I dwell in the place of the raging dead. So, sounds pretty trashy to me. Definitely overblown, which is always a good thing. Good thing for trash. There was a lot of encouragement to take a look at your friendly free libraries. Little little boxes of books that are kind of stowed in various neighborhoods, and see if you could find something free to read. It being trash, you might not want to spend a lot of money on it. And I found what is kind of one of my old teenage things. I grew up in the '80s, and there was a lot of Piers Anthony around, mostly his Xanth novels. I think he's still actually he is Piers Anthony is like 87 years old, and he is still turning out Xanth novels. I probably stopped when I was 15 or 16 with the Xanth novels, but he kept on going, punning horribly, and being a bit of a pervert. Um, this is actually the second in a series. It's the sequel to Split Infinity, the Blue Adept, and it starts out. I flipped open the beginning, and it stops out with a unicorn. Oh God, it's a lone unicorn galloped across the field towards the blue castle. It was male, with a glossy dark blue coat and red socks on his hind feet, and a handsomely spiraled horn. As he moved, he played a melody through that hollow horn, sounding like a mellow saxophone. The notes floated across the field ahead of him. And yeah, there's another unicorn, and they play a duet, and then the hero um, style pulls out his harmonica and starts playing. Um, yeah, yeah. Piers Anthony novels. I know that they're still to this day. There's like big fans of Piers Anthony. Someone they were very light, enjoyable books when I read them as a young dude. Um, Pretty horribly sexist by the standards now. I think Criminali actually mentions one of his later Xanth books, like not later, for like number 14 or 15, which is The Color of Her Panties, which is all about the focusing on the color of the panties of one of the characters. That's the kind of level of kind of naughty naughtiness that goes on in Xanth books. I Probably this is something I will read. I'll see if I can find a little. I may have read this back in the day. Yeah, it's got a good cover with the gorgeous lady and the guy and the little his little dress there. You know, if I want trash, I think going to Piers Anthony, for me at least, is trash. One person's trash is another person's treasure. I fully acknowledge that, but I will try that. Yeah. I've over the years I have actually repicked up a couple of Piers Anthony books. I mean, he is being an author who can just kind of a professional author who can just kind of crank out stories. You have to have respect for somebody like that. He's been working all his life, has produced an enormous number of books. Um, yeah, I think, oh God, I think they're actually amongst the co-hosts. They are going to do a read along, or kind of a thing of of Anthony's bio of a space tyrant novels, which I think is what may have broken me with Piers Anthony. Those books are, I guess, they're kind of more adult in theme. There is a lot of rape and violence in those books, which I think in the end probably turned me off of Piers Anthony. The Xanth books, it is light, insidious sexism nonsense. But yeah, the Bio the Space Tyrant books were uh, that much more um, kind of more of a violent junkiness, which I couldn't get along with. But that said, hey, um, I'm I don't know if I'm looking forward to Garb August. I'll see exactly how much I participate and how much I just kind of hang on in the edges and catch the rancid sniff of all that trash wafting over the booktube transom. But yeah, yeah. All right. I think I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm fading fast here. All right. I've been Jay. More videos later.